Alright, welcome back to the Plains Biome Builds. You guys already know what time it is. Time to give you a quick update on everything we've done here in the Plains so far. First of all, we've got the centerpiece of it all, the longhouse, right here behind me. Inside of the longhouse, we have a workshop, a sleeping area, and also a cooking and eating area. In the backyard of the longhouse, we have two things. One, we have a lox farm, which gets us lox pelts and lox meat. And two, we have a three-tiered crop farm, which grows barley, flax, and also regular crops. Up here in the front of the longhouse, we have a boathouse, which is large enough to fit a longship, and also a portal house, which admittedly has way too many portals than I'll ever need. As of the last episode, we also have one more build here in the Plains, and that is the outdoor recreational area. You could also call it maybe an outdoor barbecue. There's a pagoda, a hot tub spot. There's also cooking infrastructure, all sorts of things. If you haven't seen that video yet, I'll put the link right here. Now, today what we're going to be doing is heading to the backyard to do an add-on to the crop farm. So let's head back there right now. Alright, so here in the backyard we have two things, like I said before. We have our lox farm on the left, but on the right we have our three-tiered crop farm. I love this crop farm, and we've got barley, flax, and regular crops growing, but you know what sucks about it is that I forgot to put a windmill area here when I initially built it. So right now I've just got a windmill kind of shoved in the corner over here just because I needed one to make flour. So what we're going to be doing today is actually building up a super sweet windmill area up here at the top of this hill. Let me get a little closer to show you guys what we're going to be working with. So you can see we've got some raised ground going all the way around here. I'll lower the raised ground up here to where it's level with the hill, which I believe is right about where my crosshairs is right now. And then what I'm going to do is actually dig into the hill a nice circular staircase. So we'll have a staircase coming up from the path here, and then also a staircase going down over on this side, which if you haven't seen the crop farm video, you can see there is a path all the way around it. So basically what we're going to be doing is building a decorative windmill area, but also a functional windmill area. I'm going to have three windmills here. The center windmill will be up kind of high where you won't actually be able to access it, but this will be a really cool looking windmill, and it'll kind of be the centerpiece of it all. And then on the sides we'll have two lower windmills, and those are going to be the ones that will be functional and that I'll actually be using to make flour. So I've got a lot to do here, a lot of terraforming. I'm going to get to work. I'm going to build up the ground, kind of do all the terraforming, and also the foundations for each of these windmills. So let's flip over into the first time lapse of the video. Alright, welcome back to the build. Time-lapse number 1 is done. Time for update number 1. The best way to show you guys what we're doing so far is to give you an overhead view. So here it is. You can see from this view that we've got a nice curved staircase coming up towards the center from the left and the right side. And then up on the top on the platform, we've got 2 out of the 3 windmills already placed. These 2 windmills are the ones that I referred to before as the functional windmills. These are the guys that I'll actually be using here on the server. So let me take you guys a little bit closer and show you what we're working with. First of all, you can see, oh dang it, I forgot to take these down. So yeah, you can see that the platform itself is raised up above the crop farm. That's basically just to keep going with the tiered crop farm design where it's kind of moving upwards as it goes. And also, you know, we're following the shape of the hill, so I'm just matching the symmetry of the hill as well. So now I want to show you guys the staircases. Love how these guys came out. You can see after each actual stair, I just curved once, stair, curve once, stair, curve once, all the way up towards the platform. Since you guys saw the time lapse, I added some iron torches in, and I also added in some iron cage pieces. These iron cage pieces are super sweet. They do a couple things for this build, and I'll talk about that in just a second once we get up onto the platform. But first of all, I want to come over here and show you guys this side of the staircase. Same thing, but going the opposite direction, but it actually connects over here really nicely to the crop farm. All I had to do was extend the crop farm pathway by 1. Love how this kind of came together really nicely, actually. So let me take you guys up towards the platform. You can see all these cage wall pieces that I used, cage wall and cage floor pieces, I guess I should say. These, what they did is they actually broke up all of this stone. You know, they are kind of expensive, but they're dark, which so is stone, so they kind of match on that regard. But also iron pieces are really tough, and also stone pieces are very tough. So I think they go together on more than one criteria, and it was a really nice way to add a little bit of extra detail to this build. Check it out. We've got 3 spots for windmills. You can see 2 of them are already being used. I can get all the way around them to place things inside of the windmills, which is super nice. These are 4x4 platforms. This over here, the larger platform, I can still get around it. This one is actually an 8x8 platform, so it's double the size of these smaller windmill platforms. So apparently I don't know how to count, and yeah, so I just wanted to point this out. This is actually a 6x6 meter area that I had to work with, not an 8x8. Just wanted to clear that up. Yeah. So you already know what time it is. It's time for time-lapse number 2. Alright, the build is done. I'm going to take you guys up there in just a moment, but first of all, I wanted to just point out this little element here, which I forgot to talk about. You guys already know, if you've seen a few of my Valheim videos, I love to add organic elements into my build using nature, rocks, trees, grass, hills, things like that. And this right here was a perfect way to do that. I just wanted to point it out. We've got red plains flowers, we've got stone texture, we've got grass, we've got a little cloudberry here. So let me take you guys up to the actual build. The first thing you're going to notice is I've added a few details since the last time lapse. Let's get started talking about those before we talk about the main structure. First of all, we've got storage carts here on the left and the right. I always like to use storage carts in farm areas. I feel like it just makes sense. The next thing I wanted to talk about is these wooden shutters here. One of my favorite details in the whole build, actually, and it's also another reason why I recommend you want to raise up your windmills a little bit. I think it makes them look better, but it also gives you this detail layer. It's very hard to place things into the windmill itself. It's very tricky. So adding this layer below gives you the opportunity to add some details to your windmills. Now, of course, you know, this doesn't go anywhere, but you can just let your imagination go with this, and these could be anything. They could be access to the machinery below to work on your windmill, or they could be, you know, just some storage underneath. Next, we've got a fermenter, which is turned around, so the spout is in the back, just to seem like maybe some storage for some barley or something. We've got some cargo boxes here from a broken storage cart, and then I can take you guys inside the windmill, and you can see what we're working with. Love how this came out. We've got iron poles and iron beams here to support the whole thing. You don't need that at all. You could just use regular wood, but I think it looks really cool on the inside of something that's supposed to be like machinery, like a windmill. You can see I've got some banded shields on the walls, and then I've got my storage for my barley flour, and also overflow storage in case I get there. So, you know, love this. Ended up being a really functional little area inside. Now we can talk about the windmill structure itself. Love how this thing came out. I knew from the start I wanted it to be circular, and I knew that I wanted it to be bigger on the bottom and smaller up top. So I went with that, and this is what it came out to. You know, we've got these nice little trimmings here on the bottom with the wood paneling and the wood beams. I think that came out really nice. We've got stone arches over the entrance with 4 item stands with 4 Greydorf Brute trophy heads with the flowers on them to seem like a little flower pot. And then we get up a little higher to the more complicated stuff. Now, this is a simple build overall, but it did get a little tricky up top. Let me show you what exactly I'm talking about. When you get up here, this circle is actually too small to support this windmill. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't let me place it. I needed corners like a square on the top, and I added the 1x1 stone pieces, and it just didn't look good. So I ended up creating this element where you have these 4 pieces that actually stick out from the top of the build. And the way I did it is by using the dark wood arches as supports. These things look really good over window frames and things like that, but they also have another use that a lot of people don't realize, and that's to actually support things. They look really good supporting things. So we got a couple things in here. You know, it's functional. It allowed me to place the windmill, but also I got a really cool look to the top of the windmill with the supporting arches and these little stones that are like sticking outwards. Really sweet. Love the look of this. In fact, I'm absolutely going to be using this windmill in my future builds here on the server. I'm going to be using this design all the time. This is I really like this, and maybe have some smaller ones standing by with the wooden shutters too. I love how this build came out. In fact, that leads me to my next topic, which is next video will be the last build here in the plains. It's going to be a port, like a harbor area, but then we're moving out to a massive new project. Thank you guys for watching. Stick around for like 10 more seconds if you want to see some cinematic shots of today's builds. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and of course, as always, have a good one.